Wait is finally over and we are finally releasing our SMT indicator, which I am showing you in this video. This is a quick overview. We will have more in-depth material in the how-to guides. We are restructuring the how-to guides over the next few days. So this is just a quick introduction, but you can already get it if you are an indicator member. If you're not, then you can go to sirpickle.com/indicators. You can read through that page here. We have many nice tools and you can become a member here. Then you will get access to this tool if you are interested. And I'm showing you this indicator in this video, and it is best to start at the beginning, I would say. So I will just remove it from the chart and then guide you through everything the indicator does, all the settings, and so on and so on. So I'm now here on NQ. It doesn't matter what time frame you're on, and I do have the order flow indicator here. So this one can work together with the SMT indicator, which I will show you later. So just so you know, this is here already. And I am adding now the SMT indicator, which at the time of the release of this video will be called SirPickle SMT. That will be all. And then you will have this indicator on your chart. What you noticed is we got a second chart down here, which is really the indicator. Let me show you that again. So I'm adding the SMT indicator and we are getting an extra chart here. What you see there is the comparison symbol. So SMT, for those who don't know what it is, it basically means that there is a divergence between two correlated assets or two correlated symbols, two correlated charts. So we have here at the top NQ or NASDAQ. At the bottom, we have ES1, which is S&P 500. And these two charts are correlated. And if one takes a higher time frame point of interest or mitigates or liquidates a higher time frame point of interest, then the indicator is checking if the other symbol did not mitigate this same higher time frame point of interest. And if so, then SMT or divergence is found and drawn on the chart. You can see it here with these lines. So one traded above this level, the other one didn't. So we have SMT, same here. This one traded above this level. This one traded not above this level. Or here, a bit hard to see, but still, this one traded not above this level, and this one traded above this level. As you can see here with the dashed line, it's a tiny bit, but it still is valid SMT. And all of this can be quite intense or quite hard to spot manually, so the indicator is doing it for you. And again, I'm showing you now what settings we have. So first of all, let's start here with the chart windows. We are seeing the comparison symbol, which is not the chart we are on, but it's the symbol that is automatically selected by the indicator to be shown for SMT or for divergence. And if you don't want this, because I know many people of you just want to look at one chart, and if there's SMT that's maybe interesting for you, but you don't need to see both charts, you can simply double click here. And this way you don't see the other chart. So this way also with a double click here, you can really quickly just switch back and forth if you want to see what the other correlated symbol is doing, which can be really, really nice for your trading. And instead of double clicking, you can of course also click this maximize pane icon here. The same thing, by the way, you can do at the bottom panel here. So you can also double click here or click on maximize pane. And this way you will only see this chart and not the other one. So this way, again, you can switch really easily between the two. And then let's go through the different time frames, or maybe I'll show you the settings window first. So let's start here at the comparison symbol. So by default, this is set to ES1, but this is not because we're on NASDAQ right now. This is just random. We had to pick one that is chosen by default. And whatever this is doesn't really matter as long as you have auto-assign comparison symbol activated, because our indicator does it all for you. So I'm on NQ1 and you can see here, I hope this is visible in the recording, but it says here comparison symbol is ES1. And if, for example, I go to gold, then it will say comparison symbol is SI1, which is silver. So it automatically picks that. I can also go to XAU-USD, for example, and then it will take XAG-USD, which again is gold and silver, but it's the CFD and not the futures chart. Then you can do this with many, many others. So we have added many automatic comparison or automatic mappings here. So I can go to YM, for example, which is US 30 or Dow Jones 30. And this one automatically tracks SMT with Russell 2000. And you can also go to, for example, 6A1, which is Australian dollar futures. This one automatically matches it with New Zealand futures, New Zealand dollar futures. And you can also go to many Forex pairs, for example, Euro USD, which I'm sure many are interested in. This automatically matches it with GBP USD. And you can go to many others. So again, we have added many default mappings here, and you can just click through your charts and see, but then there will be some symbols where you will not see any SMT and no chart because we have not defined an automatic comparison symbol because there is none that makes sense in our eyes. For those that make sense, we have added them all, but some don't have them. Let me quickly check here which one. I think this one. Yeah. So CAT CHF doesn't have an SMT or a correlated asset that makes too much sense to add as a default. So then here you see a warning or an information saying no comparison symbol found. To show SMT with a manually selected symbol, deactivate auto assign in the indicator settings. And this is the point where I guide you through the settings. So let's start here at the top. So comparison symbol, like I said, as long as we have auto assign activated, it will ignore whatever we have put here. If I deactivate auto assign, it will start showing the chart, as you see here. But now we are comparing CAT CHF with ES1 because that's the one we have selected here. And as you also see here, that is the comparison symbol. So that, of course, doesn't make much sense. So now you can click here and then you can simply put whatever symbol you want. I'm not saying that any should be taken in this case, but we could, for example, say, give me DXY, because maybe for some reason you want to compare those. And if you do that, then you will see the DXY chart and it will draw SMT based on CAT CHF versus DXY. So again, if you need to do this manually, please select the setting here or deactivate auto assign and pick your comparison symbol yourself. This is the same, by the way, if you want to see it from a different broker. So let's say you are not on, you don't want to see Oanda. Oanda is the one we automatically choose for Forex. And let's say you want to see whatever. You want to see Euro US dollar, but from a different broker. Maybe you want to see it from forex.com. You can do this and it will then take this one as the chart and draw SMT based on that. Again, it doesn't make sense if you compare any symbol with Euro US dollar. It must be correlated. Otherwise, it can look like this, where it's just all over the place, where you see the charts don't even move in the same way. So here, you don't want to look at that. That would not make sense. But let's keep it at auto assign for now. And I will quickly click OK here, and then I will go to a chart that makes more sense. Let's just take gold, for example. And on this chart, you can now see many lines are being drawn. And this is, I will talk about this in a moment. Let's first go here. So we are seeing different SMT types, and you can also see different labels here. We see here the word external. Here we see the word previous day. Here we see internal. And these are all different SMT types. So we have added 3 different types that the indicator identifies. They are explained here in the tooltip. So let's start with the first one. And the first one is internal SMT. This is SMT after an IRL or an FVG was mitigated on the aligned higher time frame. We are right now on the 1-hour chart, and the aligned higher time frame, as written here, is daily. So SMT based on daily order flow. This is the aligned time frame that we're looking at. So right now, every SMT that we see here is happening on 1 hour, but it is based on the daily order flow. So that means in this case, for example, you can barely see that there's SMT here because the lines are very very straight, very horizontal, but there is SMT. So this one goes a bit higher while this one goes a bit lower. And basically what this means is there is a daily fair value gap that was created from this candle's low. And there's also this candle here, which is the same low of the same day. And one pair traded into it, the other one didn't. And again, this is based on daily. This is a daily IRL or a daily FVG. We are on 1 hour, and on 1 hour, we are now looking, do we trade into it, and do we form a swing low that confirms that SMT is happening? So to show you in replay mode how quick this is identified, because you see many indicators out there for SMT that show you SMTs like these, but then it only starts drawing here after 20, 30, 40, 50 candles. Ours is very quick. And I'll show you in replay. If you go here, or if we go here, and you can see once the swing low is confirmed, it will immediately identify the SMT. So you see here, we have now already found SMT because this one traded into it. It created a swing low. The swing low is confirmed because we have this candle being lower than this and this. So the candle here is lower than the previous and the next candle, which means it is a swing low. And it was created, it was confirmed while the other symbol did not trade into the same area, meaning we have SMT. So you see it pretty much immediately. The lines that you see on the chart when SMT is found, like these ones, they are really found at the moment it happens. So once the swing low is confirmed, which means here at this candle close or at this candle close, the line is drawn 1 candle in the past. So it's super, super immediate, and it can be used very nicely for trading on lower time frames or even on the same time frame. As you can see, when you do the back testing, you will see often that things like these happen where you have SMT created and then price really goes in that direction. So you can even trade it on the same time frame. But I'm not teaching you strategy in this video. This is really just to show you what the indicator is doing technically. Okay, this is the first SMT type. So again, we're trading into a higher time frame or the aligned higher time frames, IRL or FVG. Then we have external SMT, which I will show now. External SMT we have here whenever an order flow origin point is liquidated on one, but not on the other symbol. So let's take this short example here. I don't mean to cherry pick, by the way. The indicator does draw false signals as well. That is completely normal because markets don't always do 100% what we want them to do. But this is really just technically analyzing chart behavior. And it is easier to show you what the indicator is doing based on these examples that play out. But I will talk about win rate and so on a bit later. So we see here, we have this line pointing downwards while this line is pointing upwards. That means we had, saying here that is external, so external SMT, that means we had an order flow leg starting from here. This is the origin point, the spring, the start of an order flow leg. And this order flow leg was liquidated, or the previous order flow leg was liquidated here on the correlated asset. So on silver, we traded above this level, and on gold, we didn't. You will see here that the lines don't really start at the same time because we have on gold, we have just to draw a vertical line here. So we have here the line starting there, and here we have it starting much later. This is because the swing points or the order flow origin, it doesn't have to be exactly the same candle. It can be the same candle plus minus 1 on the higher time frame. To show you this, actually using this line, I will simply go to daily quickly. And you will see here that on daily, removing this line, we had a swing high here, but on the other symbol, we only had the swing high one candle later. So again, plus minus 1, we allow a tolerance for the two symbols. So the swing height doesn't have to be exactly the same higher time frame candle. That is why you will sometimes see something like this, where this line is much longer than the line on the other chart, but this is still completely valid. And also, you will very often see that the two lines start at a similar time, but not exactly at the same time. For example, here. So here we see it always ends at the same candle, because this is where we identify SMT. This must happen at the same time. But the starting point is the candle of the current time frame. So we're now on 1 hour. It is the candle that created the higher time frame point of interest. So in this case, the order flow leg low, the external SMT point of interest, was created from this candle, and here it was created from that candle. So it doesn't match exactly, but it happened within the same two higher time frame candles. I hope this is clear. If not, you will see in backtesting how that works. But basically, if you see lines don't exactly match, it is still valid. It checks the higher time frame point of interest, and it then draws it from the exact lower time frame candle that created this higher time frame point of interest. I hope that's clear. So again, the external SMT is happening if one symbol liquidates the higher time frame point of interest and then creates a lower time frame or current time frame swing point, as we see here. I will again show you in replay mode. We have down here, we have here not yet a high created, because we are still waiting for a candle that is lower than the previous candle. And once that happens, which is here, at this candle, SMT is found, but it only gets drawn at the open of the next candle, because only then the indicator knows that this candle is done, that this candle is finished. So once the candle starts at the first tick here, it draws then this SMT. So it's basically at the close of this candle, but visually it only happens at the start of this candle. And that is that. Then we have another SMT type, which is previous daily, weekly, or monthly candle sweep SMT. By the way, in the tooltip, you can see here, it also works for yearly SMT even. So if the yearly candle is swept and you are on a chart that shows that. So you see the alignments here. We have the daily sweep SMT, so the sweep of the daily previous candle, that is shown on the 1 hour chart. The weekly sweep is shown if you are on the 4 hour chart. The monthly sweep is shown if you're on the daily chart, and the yearly sweep is shown if you're on the weekly or on the monthly chart. Let me show that in a real example. So you see here again, this is always showing you what is the current higher time frame that we're looking at. And if I am on daily, it shows us right now nothing, because I have nothing activated here. So we have to activate this, and it then shows us the previous candle sweep. It only does this on 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, weekly, and monthly. It doesn't do it on lower time frames, because we are too far away from the higher aligned time frame. So let's say if I'm on 1 minute, I don't want to show daily sweeps, because it would send too early false signals many times. And we only show one SMT per higher time frame point of interest, and then that's it. We don't repaint. This is very important. What you see here on the chart really happened, and you can really trust that whatever was seen here was exactly what you could have traded, because you would have gotten the alert. I will talk about alerts in a moment. Always once the swing is confirmed. We don't repaint at all. The only thing that we are repainting, or meaning we're changing what's drawn on the chart, is this red dot here, which appears if, let's say, this SMT is found and then the SMT is invalidated at some point. We do draw a red dot, but also I'm getting ahead of myself. I will talk about that later. So previous daily, monthly, weekly candle, again, shown on this time frame. If I go to 15-minute, I will also remove the drawing quickly because it's irrelevant now. So if we're on this time frame, we don't see that. because we are now seeing SMT based on 4-hour order flow. But as you can see in the setting, we are only checking daily, weekly, monthly previous candle sweeps because they are higher probability, because they are the ones that dictate where markets often go. So if I'm on 1 hour, I will see the sweep of the previous daily candle as shown in the label here. If you're on 4 hour, you will see the sweep of the previous weekly candle as shown here. So prev W stands for previous week. If we are on daily, we will see the sweep of the previous monthly candle, as we can see here. Prev M stands for previous month. If we are on weekly or on monthly, we see the yearly sweep. Yearly in TradingView is called 12 months. As you can also see here, if you select time frames, there's no yearly chart. There's only 12 months chart, which is why I also called this 12 months. And the same on monthly. So also here we see the yearly or the 12-month sweeps. That is that. And then if you have all the labels activated, it can be really helpful to show the SMT type inside your label. So as you see here, if you have all of them activated, it can be a lot. This is also maybe too much. And of course, you should always check your order flow direction and so on, not blindly trade it. But if you have this, it makes sense to add the SMT type to the label so you know which one is which, if you are interested in that. If it's irrelevant for you, if you trade all of them anyway, then you can as well turn it off, keep your charts clean. But other than that, it can make sense to understand a little bit what markets are doing here. So here, for example, if it says external, we have swept an order flow origin point, we've swept an order flow leg. If it says previous day, we've swept the previous daily candle. If it says internal, we are reacting from an IRL or from an FVG. So these are the 3 types we have. And if you don't want the labels, you can simply untick this. I think it is off by default. I'm not too sure right now. But then you simply see that. And if you don't even want that, you can also say, I'm not even showing the labels. So you only see the lines. That also works like this. Then going further in the settings, so we have invalidation dots. I will just show the labels again. And I will only work with one SMT for now, because that is easier to show. Otherwise, the charts are too packed with information. And I will explain the invalidation dots to you. So sometimes you will see that there's a red dot on the chart. They are very small if you're zoomed out this far. But if you are a bit closer, you will see them more easily, like here. They scale with the charts on purpose because we want them to be visible if you are looking at price action here, and we don't want them to block information because they're too big if you're zoomed out. So they scale with the chart as you zoom in and out. And here, for example, we see that this dot appears. And what this means is it tells us SMT is no longer present. The divergence is not happening. But again, like I said, we don't repaint. We are not changing this line. Once it is there, it will stay there. So you can trust that the indicator is showing what you would have seen if you would have traded anything here in real time. And what happens here with the invalidation dot is basically, again, SMT means we're trading. Let me draw these quickly. We're trading above a level of a higher time frame that is relevant, while the other correlated symbol does not. So as we see here, this red line, that's the level, which in this case, because it is, I think, one moment, I don't even know which one I have. Let me show the labels. So yeah, it's internal SMT, so basically an FVG reaction. So here, gold has traded into a daily, because we're on 1 hour, so we're checking daily order flow. Gold has traded into a daily fair value gap, while silver has not traded above the same daily candle that formed the fair value gap on gold. So we have divergence at this point at least. So when it is found, when the line is drawn, divergence is present because silver is below the red line that I've just drawn, while gold is above. That is SMT, that's divergence. But then while we are in the same day, in the same daily candle, the SMT or the divergence is invalidated as soon as silver trades into this fair value gap as well, as you can see here. The red line, again, that's a manual drawing. As soon as price trades above this red line, this red dot appears, meaning this last SMT that we've seen here is no longer present. It no longer exists. That doesn't mean necessarily that your setup must be invalid. It simply means SMT is no longer present. So if you use that as a confluence, then that can no longer be used as a confluence. You see here, for example, on gold, it would have still played out nicely, while on silver, it wouldn't have. So that's up to you then, what you do with that information. But basically, this dot means the last SMT you have seen on the chart is no longer valid. It's no longer present. Then let's go further. So we have some settings here for colors. I don't really need to show you that, but let's say if you wanna have it a bit more colorful on your chart, you can say negative or bearish divergence is red while bullish is green. Then you can see it like this. And you can also change the color of the invalidation dot. If you don't like red, if it makes you aggressive, you can change it to something else. So now, for example, it will turn into blue. Oops, wrong. This one, invalidation dot. This one you turn into blue, then it's like this. And then we also have the info text here, which shows you the comparison symbol and also what time frame we're looking at for the higher time frame POIs. And this is this setting. This is by default gray. And you can change this as you like. So if you want to have it more visible, you can change it like this. You can make it purple, do whatever you want. You can change the label size, which is the size of the labels on the SMT lines. So like this, let's make it a bit extreme, just making them bigger. And you can also, for your readability, you can also change the info text size so that it's easier to see or even harder to see. By the way, if you don't want to see this text at all, I mean, one thing you can do, of course, is double click here so you don't even see that panel. But if you want to see the panel but you don't want to have this text, you can go to Style and then unselect Tables here, so it will be hidden. Also, as we are here right now, you can of course change the color of the correlated asset candles. So by default, these are the colors or similar colors as Sir Pickle uses. I have made them in a way that they work both for bright backgrounds and also for dark backgrounds. So if, let's say, we are on a dark chart, you will still see something. Pickle's default or Sir Pickle's default colors don't work on a dark background because they use a lot of black. So I have added gray here. So it works for both white and gray backgrounds. And back to my default color that I like to use. And what else? So we have, these are the settings basically. Then before I talk, let's talk about alerts quickly, because that is one of my favorite features. So normally, if you know our indicators like the IRL rejection indicator or entry alerts indicator, you know alerts in a way that you set one alert per setup you want to trade. So let's say there's one IRL that I want to take a trade from. I have to set it up for each of these IRLs. With this indicator, we can inform you, or the indicator or TradingView can inform you that an SMT is found, but you only have to set it up once per time frame. Let me actually put the settings here back to default because I made it a bit ugly. And so what that means is, first of all, you can not in replay mode. When you're in replay mode, you will see this doesn't work. So if I click here, there's no option to set an alert. But if I'm not in replay mode, you can then go here. So go on the indicator title, basically, and then click the three dots and then say add alert on Sir Pickle SMT. If you click that, and here comes the magic, you can do this only for the current symbol where you're on, or you can click on the current symbol and then you select the watch list that you have open. So my watch list here is called IRL rejection alerts. So I can select this here. If I'm on a different watch list, let's say I go to my top step watch list and I click the three dots, add alert, then I can select the top step watch list here. And now what happens is I can of course send my my notifications here. So I want to get maybe an in-app notification. I want to see the toast, so which is the small box that appears here. I want to hear a sound, whatever you want. And if I set this up now as a watch list alert and I click create, it will appear in my alerts list here. And you will see here, there's a watch list. This is not, normally you see only the symbol, but here this is a watch list. So now for my entire watch list, whenever 1 hour SMT is found, so again, 1 hour SMT based on daily order flow, for any of these symbols, it will ping me. It will send me an alert, which is really powerful. And this is a permanent alert. You don't have to set this up again. You can set it up once. You can make it open-ended if your TradingView account allows you. So if you click here and you say here expiration open-ended alert, if you don't have this option on, I think, I don't even know, I think the Essential plan already offers this, but I'm not too sure. Then you can at least set it up for 3 months or something. So you don't have to set it up often. Then just put yourself a reminder in your calendar and then set it up again at that time. But usually you can really make it open-ended and you will get pinged all the time when it happens for your entire watch list, which I absolutely love. And that is that feature. We're almost at the end. I am now showing you, so for the alerts, you can, first of all, if you have this active or not, doesn't matter. I just had to put this box here to add this text, which explains you how to set up alerts. Very important, if you make any changes, let's say you select different SMT types or something here, this will not update your existing alert. You then have to go to your alerts if you make a change. So let's say we are changing, we only want to see these SMT types, click OK. And then once the chart is updated, this will still have all the 3 SMT types. So you have to remove this alert, very important. And then you have to set it up again. So then again, you click on the 3 dots, you say this, select the watch list and say create. Then you have the new settings. Then what we have also added, especially if you use SMT on lower time frames, you might not want to get an alert all the time, 24 hours per day. Let's say you trade on the 5 minute or even on the 1 minute. And yes, this indicator shows you that. I'm now going to 1 minute. It will now show me SMT based on 15-minute order flow, as we see here. So SMT based on 15-minute order flow shown here. And you see, I mean, we don't want to cherry pick, but even this, look how amazing this looks like. But anyway, again, I will still talk about win rates. But for now, so we have added a do not disturb mode. So if, let's say, you don't want to get alerts at night when you're sleeping or outside of your trading window, which can help you against over trading. So let's say you only trade the whatever, the New York AM session or whatever, then you can say schedule DND, so activate this, which means you don't get alerts, and then put the time here. Important, it is Eastern time, so EST or EDT, whatever we have currently, and it only applies to intraday timeframes. So if we are on, let's say, the daily chart, then it will still send you notifications whenever this happens because the daily chart doesn't care about time. And if you are on an intraday time frame, for example, 4 hour or 1 hour, it will not send you alerts at the time that you specify here. And again, it's EST. So depending on where you are, you can simply go to Google and convert the time to your own, or even easier, click here, click on the time, and then select New York. That is Eastern time. Click that and then match it with your own time. So for me, for example, it's now 7:36 in the evening, while the chart is 2:36. So I am 5 hours further. So that means if I don't want to get alerts, or let's say I only want to have alerts between 12 and 2 for some random reason, then I would set this to, so I want to have my alerts starting at 7 EST, which for me is 12, and they are ending at 9, which for me is 2. So this way, see here how it is kind of reversed. So here I'm saying only send me alerts for 2 hours. So no alerts is scheduled from 9 until throughout the day, throughout midnight until 7. So I only get alerts between this and this time. So hope that's clear. Of course, if you don't go through midnight with this, then you can also just say from 10 to 12 you have DND. So this way you only block 2 hours. Hope that's clear. And that's that. And then the last big feature that we have here is we have added an option to plug in the order flow indicator to read the direction of where market should go or where market is likely to go. So if I am clicking here on the settings, double click, and then instead of mode no filter, let's actually show all SMTs to show you what this is doing. So we have the order flow indicator here on the chart, and historically this order flow indicator has had information about do we go up or down. You see, if it's not filtered, it is a mess. It's a lot of information if we show all SMT types. But now if I say order flow connect as a mode, first of all, what happens? I will get an error because here it now says select the correct order flow connect source in the indicator settings. So double clicking there again or going to the settings, I have to select mode order flow connect, and I also have to select the order flow connect source. This will only be visible if you have the order flow indicator on your chart, which then is this one. These ones you can ignore. I see them because this is how I send the alerts to our Discord, but you will not see them. You will only see these here. I cannot hide them. And you will see the last one here. And the last one is the one you choose. So Pickle order flow connect. And if you choose that, then the chart will draw here again. And now what it does is it draws SMT only in alignment with the order flow indicator. So only if the order flow indicator is pointing down, for example, if the order flow is bearish, the indicator will not plot any bullish SMT and vice versa. So you see the signals here got way less. And you can see again, I will set it to no filter and you will see how many more you will see here on the chart. Once it loads, this always loads a bit slow because it has to reload the order flow indicator whenever you make the change here, but it works. And you will see in a moment, many more will appear as you see here. So here it's not filtered and here it is filtered. And that is pretty much all. Now let's talk a very little about expectation management. So first of all, this indicator can be traded by itself in my eyes. This is not an approach that Sir Pickle uses. He doesn't trade it alone, let's say. I like how it looks. If you look at some charts and some time frames, I like how often you have good reactions, how often the signals are very accurate. But please keep in mind, this is not a trading system. This is simply mechanically showing you, is SMT, is divergence present or not? Here, for example, amazing, this one. Here, for example, failing. So failing signals happen, and they happen often. And you have to use backtesting. You have to check your own approach, how you want to trade it. You can trade it on the same time frame. You can also, let's say, if we have divergence, let's say here, maybe if this is the 1 hour chart, maybe you could have traded something here on a lower time frame and so on. So please do your backtesting and do it realistically. Always backtest with a mindset of I want to prove the strategy wrong. Because if you don't, then you tend to lie to yourself. You tend to have hindsight bias where you say, oh no, I wouldn't have taken this trade when actually you did. So it makes sense to keep a mindset of I'm trying to make it as realistic as possible, and I'm happy about every loss because it will prevent me from seeing wrong information here, from having false expectations, which will mess up your trading psychology, and so on and so on. So don't think this is a get rich quick and holy grail indicator. They don't exist, never, and they will never exist. And this is a system that can be traded very profitably, but you have to still use your brain. You have to do your back testing. And you can, with this one, backtest extremely quickly because it draws you everything and it doesn't remove the drawings. It shows you up to 500 lines on the chart at the same time. So you can go quite a bit back. And it works in replay mode. It draws things at the exact time where they would also appear in real time. And it has, like I said, it has false signals, and the results will differ based on what symbol you're looking at, what you compare it with. It will differ based on what time frame you're looking at. Please also keep in mind if you're on 1 minute, for example, and you use Order Flow Connect, it still doesn't have the monthly order flow data, for example, because it doesn't exist in the order flow indicator. So you have to really make sure that that you still do your due diligence, that you still understand how to use the order flow indicator, and only then it can make sense to connect it. This one, good that we have this. This happens sometimes, by the way. If it says calculation timed out, you simply have to change the time frame and then change back, and then it will usually load. Sometimes you get this error 2 times in a row. 3 times I haven't seen so far, but then once it loads here, yeah, here you see now it works. So sometimes it simply happens. Don't worry about that. Then just change time frame, change back, and done. And I will leave it here. 41 minutes is, or more than 40 minutes is enough, I think, as a quick overview. I will now publish the indicator, and I'm happy to see all of you using it, and let me know your questions on Discord. And that's it.